We are back for the Iracing Road to 6K Irating, and it is going to be a roller coaster today. A lot of downs, a few ups, but with that being said, let's get straight into the video and into the heart of the action. Here we go then, on track for our first qualifying session of the video. The Super Formula at the Nürburgring. What a combination. I'd love it if F1 could race again around this circuit. What a legendary track it is, and not even just speaking about the Nordschleife, just the Nürburgring. Of course, I think it'll be a bit difficult to get the F1 car around the full Nordschleife these days, but if we could return to the Nürburgring, that would be very, very lovely. As we go through the right-hander and we pick up a track invalidation, but I actually wasn't sure if the invalidation came from the inside of the track or the outside of the track. Of course, looking back at it now, it's pretty clear that the invalidation came from inside the track where I cut the curb too much. But when driving, I couldn't see that or react to it in the right amount of time. So I had to be a bit more cautious on the second lap here. But invalidating the first lap does open up the opportunity to spend a bit of time learning the track, learning the circuit, learning the grip, having the ability to make mistakes. What is an important process of learning a car's limit. So now I'm just spending the rest of the lap just trying to understand how the car is going to feel, how the car is going to react, what curbings can I use, what curbings I can't use, and just gathering as much information as possible to ensure that my second and final lap of the qualifying session can be as quick as possible. Going wide of the final corner purposely to set up a better exit for now my oh so critical one shot here at putting in a qualifying lap at this circuit. As we go past the roller coaster on the left hand side, brake just after the curb starts on the left hand side, trying to cut as much of the curbing on the inside as you can, limit the wheel spin through the left hander, bit off camber here, easy to pick up understeer, up into fourth gear and then drop it down into third, try to limit the over rotation of the rear axle, being very cautious through here with the track limits because I didn't know quite how far I could push the car. Through the left, keep it in fifth gear, roll the speed, now down 2 gears, minimize front right locking. We did a pretty decent job of it there and was able to rotate the car. Coming up to one of my favourite corners on the track, this hairpin, of course, with extreme banking, able to roll good speed and pick up good mid-corner grip and accelerate out. Going through the Michael Schumacher curve here, through the fast, left and right, easily flat out. Arriving to the slightly uphill braking zone, brake just after the 100-meter board on the right hand side, down to fourth gear, roll the speed through the right hand, back on the power, use up all the road on the exit as possible. If you go wider, you might risk bottoming out the car and it could give you a kick off oversteer, well of course is not enjoyable. Braking after the 50-meter board, rolling speed in, the car gets really tight on the exit as you run out of road, right up against the curbing. Final corner of the lap, accelerating out to the start finish line. Where can we go? And I am very satisfied with that lap. It is provisional pole position as we go across the line, but that does transform into P2 on the grid, what I'm still very, very happy with. Lights are coming on, and I am going to get a rocket of a start. Watch my reaction in the bottom left-hand side corner of your screen. We get the start. And look at the reaction. That's the best start I've ever gotten in the car, and we are somehow 3 attempts clear of the original pole sitter going into the first turn. I know he's much quicker than us because he out-qualified us by a big chunk of time, so we're looking to try and hang on to position over the first lap, give ourselves time to get used to the grip, the car, and just adjust ourselves to maximizing performance, because I'm very confident after 5 laps maximum we can get up to his pace. So now I'm just looking to hang on, not make an opportunity for him to get past us. Of course, I imagine he's going to be pretty active on his overtake button, trying to snip away past us in the early laps of this race. So we're going to try and stop that happening. Going a bit wide at the hairpin, just carrying too much speed in. Didn't get the mid-corner rotation. Little bit of a spoiler alert, I'm going to make a rookie error here. I look up in my mirror and I end up cutting the corner as a result of it, getting a slow down penalty. So now I'm a bit stuck in what to do, how to get out of the way, because I'm not too sure how serious this penalty is, you know. Sometimes...
Trying to find a way to let Sky go.
You can hear my live reaction. Sometimes...
Actually, maybe we don't have to lift.
On iRacing, you don't actually have to lift, and you can see the timer's going down by itself. So I think we can carry on, but we're going to let him go around the outside of the chicane here. But then he's going to go wide, jump over the curb, and then oversteer into our path. And, yeah. Race over in the wall. My reaction's still quite funny. Just looking back at it, I'm just like, okay, great, GG, cheers to that. So, yeah, I mean, not ideal. To be honest, it all started with my mistake at the chicane. Now we're, of course, going to take a little replay of the crash. And the mistake started at the chicane, you know? So it's partly my fault. Of course, he lost control on the curb. But, again, that's racing. And if I didn't put myself in that position to start with, it wouldn't have happened. So I take responsibility for that. As now you can see going through here, goes around the outside, bottoms out on the outside curbing, oversteers again, and we're on a one-way trip to the barrier. Yeah. So with that being said, that is now the Super Formula done. Moving swiftly on to the F4 race, because as you can see on the Super Formula car, the tyre was taller than the driver in the car because it got taken off the chassis up against the wall. So the car had irreparable damage, so of course we could not compete in that race any further, meaning we lost a lot of iRating, a lot of safety rating. But anyway, we're going to vibe, we're going to enjoy, we're going to go back onto F4, and we're going to try and gain back some of what we lost already in our qualifying lap. The first time around this track in an F4 car for me anyway. So it's a bit of a learning experience. As we go through the right-hander, missing the apex there, getting a small twitch of oversteer, limiting our ability to get back to the power. I do know this track pretty well, because I have done it a lot in the F1600, aka the Formula Ford, just not so much in an F4 car. So it was very enjoyable, to be honest. It was actually a really nice combination. Quite a short track, so the qualifying times are tight as we go through the final corner. I was pretty successful. I was always a bit unsure if to be in 4th or 5th gear going into that final apex of the lap. Doing an 8.6 on the first lap here, braking very late for turn 1, down into 3rd gear, let the car rotate a little bit, conservative, turning the car into the apex. Wasn't really sure if it was going to hit the inside curbstone or not, and that thing was basically a wall. So you do not want to be hitting that in this car. For the left-hander, really nice there, right up against the gravel on the exit. So it's been a much more successful second lap compared to our first lap so far. Anyway, braking down into 3rd gear, a bit conservative, and honestly could have braked about 5 meters later. Into the right-hander again, being very conservative because I just wasn't sure if I could push the car and avoid the mistake like I made last time around. Easily flat out through here, minimizing the distance, touching the inside curb again, just to minimize the distance around the track. Coming up to the final corner here in the F4 car at Summit Point, into the right-hander, and it was a bit under the limit, and honestly probably lost a tenth or two, and now running up to the line. What could it be? Is it an improvement? And we are across the line, and it is going to be an improvement down to an 8.5, putting us P4 on the grid. Danny Moreno as well, F1 esports S1 sim racing driver, team's champion with Mercedes if my facts are correct, so really nice to see him in the race as well, getting a half decent start, running down to turn 1, covering the inside, but the Ferrari is going to take to the grass, go up the inside on the off track, and hit us from behind, so forcing his way through there. But here's my reaction.
Fair. Oh, he pushed me off. I was going to say fair play, but I mean, still fair play. Got the place.
I mean, yeah, fair play. He wanted the place. He got the place. Good on him, you know. And now coming over.
He was determined.
And yeah, he was determined. So I don't know. That's racing, you know. Sometimes you get these situations, especially on turn 1. But now we have the space going around the outside, and he's going to hit us again.
Bro does not like me. Wow.
And then we're going to get hit again. And spun around. And we get collected by some other cars. That gives us damage to the car that we need to be boxing with. So as you can see on the top left-hand side of the screen, we have the meatball flag, aka the black and orange flag that says you need to box, get the car fixed, and off you go again. Off you pop. Yeah, letting out a bit of a sigh there, because 2 races in a row, we've been absolutely hammered on the first lap. Luckily in this race we could continue, and now we're going to be looking just to gather as much time back in this race as possible and make up any positions if other people have calamities as well. Had over 12 seconds to Peter up ahead, and now just pushing to close down the gap all the way throughout this race. We were fortunate enough to be doing the leader's pace, so we was in a good stride and a good rhythm. And hopefully, actually, I can revisit this track in car combo later in the week if I have time to get back on iRacing. It was fun. It was a nice combination. I imagine it would be a good battle as well for the race lead. Highly slipstream dependent, as well with a few corners that you can go side by side on, and it does make it rather enjoyable. Up behind Dylan right now, you can see was able to close the gap to him. Peter is still 5 seconds up the road, who was the person we was originally trying to catch, and now we are just looking for our way through to minimize time loss, minimize risk as well, because we did take a big hit on the safety rating last time round on the Super Formula race, so just trying to get through this race while picking up as minimal instant points as possible. You can see quite conservative going into the final corner. Didn't really know where he was going to brake, and it's just better safe than sorry rather than going into the back of Dylan in that situation. Dragging alongside him on the straight and able to get the move done, braking nice and late, but he is very late on the brakes on the outside to him. Then kind of just runs himself out of road, because we did leave racing room on the exit of the corner, but able to get up into P11 in this race now, looking to see if we can gain any more positions. Up ahead, car spins, and he does do a very nice flick spin in all fairness to him to get back on the track, so good on Peter there. That was quite skillful. Unfortunately though, nothing else happened in the race, and we tried, we pushed, we were doing fast lap times. Pretty much always when we had clean air, one lap was always within 1/10 of the next lap, and we're doing 8.1s consistently, as you can see on the steering wheel. The fastest lap of the race was an 8.0 from Danny Moreno, I believe it was as well. So I'm not too sure if he had the slipstream. He was battling for the lead at one point, but anyway, very happy with the pace that we had in this race. Just unfortunate that we wasn't able to use it, catching up to the back marker of Ronnie up ahead. But yeah, unfortunate, 2 times in a row, 2 first lap crashes in a row, but these things are racing, these things can happen, pushing the limits on the final corner, just trying to get the fastest lap, just feel pure satisfaction and no honesty. Across the line, and we do a 1:07, so about half a tenth away from the fastest lap of the race. Going into the replay mode now, you can see off the race start, the Ferrari livery car behind us going down into turn 1. We cover the inside, he drives onto the grass, and then turns left into us to claim room going down into turn 1. So just looking at again, you can see he drove himself off the road, then turned left into us to push our car to give him the room. I mean, to be honest, fair. If he understands the game physics and knows what he can do, I rate it, to be honest. Good game knowledge, good knowledge of the game, and then you can see here, just pushes us wide. But again, if he knows it's not going to give him damage in his race, it's not going to be compromising his race, game's game, to be honest. Game is the game. So yeah, no hate towards him. Just going through one more replay file of this, you can see as soon as we got side by side, you can see he opened up his steering wheel. But like I say, game is the game. If he knows he can get away with it, why not do it, you know? So no hate, no negativity to him at all, and I don't want to see any negativity in the comments. We're here for fun, and if people enjoy driving like that on iRacing, all credit to them, because if that's how they enjoy it, crack on, my friend. Absolutely crack on, you know? I'm not going to hate on someone for doing what they want to do on a video game at the end of the day. But we are now into the final race of the day, doing F1600, and I made a friend in the lobby. I made a friend. As you can see, the car behind us, we both agreed to start from the pit lane. Originally, we did take the pole position by just under half a second. So we both agreed to be starting from the pit lane, have a bit of fun, and to be honest, I needed this. I needed this. After the previous 2 races, first lap crashes, this was a bit of fun, there's a bit of banter. and just getting through this race now in the early phases, trying to catch up. A really long pit exit here. Normally you're able to exit onto the back of the field, but here I had a really long pit exit, so we lost a lot of race time. But now going down the inside, side by side through turn 1 was really difficult. We almost made contact, and that was a great move by him, but also great of him to be leaving the racing room on the outside line. Now running side by side up into the next left hand, what is a hairpin. We think about sending it, to be honest, but we still have a lot of work to do to try and catch up to the race leaders. And also, I want to try and learn from his racing lines, because I think he's quite quick as well. He was following me very, very closely on the previous laps. So, for me, it was quite an interesting process to try and learn from him. This triple left-hander is so difficult in these cars, because it's all about mechanical grip. And once you do start getting a bit of understeer, then it's really hard to recover from that. So I never quite mastered that racing line yet in this race. But this chicane is so much fun, man. It's so good in this car. You're able to throw it so attackingly over the curbing and try to make up the time. Of course, slipstream is quite powerful in these cars because there's no downforce. It's got a bit of drag. So you're able to maximize it. But yeah, this track is fantastic, as he's making a little bit of mistakes up ahead, so we're going to try and look to retake the position from him so we can be the lead car as we start to arrive to this battle pack of cars up ahead of us. You can see me and him are taking quite different racing lines. I'm probably still taking a racing line that's more familiar with like downforce cars, and I didn't really properly readjust to driving an F1600 where it's a bit more mechanical sliding. But hopefully we're able to adjust that as the race goes on into turn 1. As you can see, there's a crash up ahead. We take it really easily because I did not want to be 3 crashes in a row, and we've been able to get 2 free positions for free, but of course 3 positions total because we did make the overtake on the pit straight. Going into that triple left-hander that I mentioned earlier, as you can see, we've got Paul up ahead, just trying to learn to take it a bit differently as now you open up into the next right-hander. A lot of these turns in the opening part of the lap have quite significant banking to them. What I really enjoy, it adds a different skill, it adds a different way of driving it, as well we're all over the back of Paul going for the chicane that I absolutely love. It's so much fun to throw the car throughout these corners on this track. The curbings do seem very, not lenient, but something that you can play with, that you can really put the car towards as we do go up the inside of Paul there to take the position. But as you'll see as we're driving around the track, getting quite close to the car ahead now, just closing in on the final corners, it's curbings that you can really use, you can really put the car on top of, and if you know how to handle the car with your inputs, you can maximize them as we go up the inside here, over the start-finish line, into turn 1 and getting the move secured as we're just approaching the braking zone now. Lock, signed, sealed and delivered, and our friend as well is able to follow us through, so we're able to continue our battle. But yeah, so many racing lines are available on this track, especially when you're not in a downforce car. And I remember driving this track many years ago on Xbox. So many games. I can't remember, like GTR 7 or something. I can't remember the exact game name. Probably someone will correct me if the name is wrong as we're going up the inside of Jack. But I do make a mistake here. I do accidentally give him a little push and a little punt off the track. So hold my hands up. We'll look at it on the replay mode after the race is done. But I do hold my hands up, and sorry to Jack. It was my mistake there, as now we're going on to the final lap of the race, side by side into turn 1. And he's going to be trying to go around the outside of us. We're going to try and keep it tight on the inside, but he's able to run good speed. And now we're around the outside of corner 2. And what a battle this is. Keeping the cars under control, not risking contact. He's going very defensive to the inside line. We tried to fake him, and now he's going to go deep into the hairpin. We brake a bit too early, not able to carry the speed. But we have quite a lot of the lap to go to be getting back onto his gearbox, to be claiming back P3 in this race, going through the triple left-hander. And my line was pretty unoptimal here, and it was something that I didn't really master on this lap, but was able to close in a lot at the hairpin, driving to his back bumper.
going into the chicane, up over the curb, through the left, through the right. We do make a bit of a mistake on the weight transition there, and they gave him a bit of breathing space. He's on the grass on the exit of the corner, weaving to break the slipstream. We're going to be looking to try and go down the inside, but he's going to be covering that all along. We try to go to the outside. We're trying to get a switchback going into the final apexes of the lap. Can we get the exit from the corner? He's in the gravel. Now we need to try and do one more switchback here. Getting early on the throttle. We make contact with him. We get a 4X for hitting the nose cone against the rear gearbox. Final corner of the lap though, sliding into the apex. But it's just not enough, and what a battle that was. You can see me having a little smile on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, because yeah, that was enjoyable. That was a nice race, and very happy to have that as well. You can see me just saying sorry to Jack in the chat for the push, because it was my mistake, and now we're just going to go over it to show my mistake a bit more. As you can see, we hit the inside curbing, and that makes me understeer a little bit, so it was a skill issue from my side, and I'm sorry for Jack that he had to suffer the repercussions of my skill issue. So yeah, apologies to him one more time. We're basically back where we started. We're down to 1.1 safety rating, 5.1k Irating. So far away from ideal today. Losing a lot of Irating, a lot of safety rating. We're quite close now to being demoted from our A-class license. So touch wood. I don't have any... Oh, I do have wood around me. Touch wood. That doesn't happen in the next episode. But thank you so much for watching. These things can happen. It's just racing, you know, at the end of the day. And I will catch you in the next video. Grazie, Vizazzi. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.